Hello everyone, my name is Matthew and welcome to today's video. We finally have an answer to a long-awaited question, which is, are we going to get a fourth season of Heartstopper, Netflix? And Netflix finally answered and they were like, no. But you're going to get a movie. Yay! So with that, of course, comes additional questions. And Netflix is probably saying, oh my god, just leave us alone. We just give you the answer that yes, you're going to get a movie. But the questions for that are, when will it release? Will we actually have enough time to close all the story arcs in a movie? And is a taco salad a salad or just a giant taco? Now, I don't expect an answer to that last question in this movie, but I just thought it was interesting. Now, we do know a few things about the movie, right? Which it's going to start filming in the summer of 2025. Now, that means potentially that it's going to release in 2026. The other thing that we know is that Kit Connor and Joe Locke are locked in as producers. So that means they're getting a lot more money. I always think about Sex in the City. Sarah Jessica Parker added as a producer. I believe it may have caused the rift. Don't quote me on that. Then we also know that the script is basically done for the show. Now, it's going to be based on the sixth volume of the book, which unfortunately we have yet to have released. It hopefully will be released before the actual series. And it's going to focus on Nick attending university and how that actually changes the dynamic of the relationship between Nick and Charlie. Now, I finished all 5 volumes of Heartstopper, the book series, of course, the sixth having yet to be released. And I've noticed a few things, as well as also reading the Nick and Charlie story, which is offshoot, right? And it takes place a little bit after volume 5 and probably in between 6. Now, I have to say that the series, the Netflix series, actually explores the friendships a little bit more in depth. And I thought it would be interesting, before we actually talk further about the movie, maybe in future videos as we get more information. And I just want to share, I actually typed into AI, like, please create a poster of a movie poster for Heartstopper. And I was like, sorry, can't do that. Copyright infringement. So then it said, do you want like a fan based one? And I was like, sure. So this is what it came up with. You know, who are these people? We have no idea. But it's interesting, like some of them I could go, oh yeah, that's maybe that's Tara. Oh, maybe that's Elle. Wait, where's Elle? So I thought that was interesting. I just wanted to share that with all of you. But what we want to do is we want to go into the differences that I see between the book and the actual TV series, because I think there's going to be some differences in the movie as well. Even though, the author is, yes, writing the sixth book and the TV series, there are some deviations. So I think the first thing I would just want to say is that I tried to write down as many things as I could identify just based off my memory. And it's like almost like going with a grocery list. I walk in the store and I was like, I'm pretty sure I forgot something. And then I get home and I was like, crap, I forgot the eggs. So in the comments, you're going to be my reminder of what I forgot. So if you see something that I'm not mentioning that you see is significant, please put it in the comments. So the first thing I just want to put here is that in the actual book, when Tori and Charlie are riding the Ferris wheel, and they're talking about like Charlie saying, Michael likes you, and she's like, I know. That's when actually Tori in the book confesses that she's asexual. Now, no such events take place in the actual TV show, but I thought it was interesting to see that difference. And as you read the book, there are individuals who have different conversations. There's characters that do and do not exist. And that brings me to Isaac. Isaac is a character that does not exist in the book series. Now, I would say that he is an offshoot of another character, which is in the book series called Alled. And I think that he's equivalent to Isaac. The only difference is that Alled actually confesses that he has a boyfriend on the Paris trip. And that's when we discover that, it looks like Isaac is asexual. So I think they may have shifted the asexuality from Tori maybe to Isaac, but we still don't know much about, you know, where Tori's reluctance with Michael is coming from. So it'll be interesting to kind of explore that a little bit more, right? Now, in the book, Charlie still, yes, tells Tao about his relationship with Nick late. Now, I think in the TV series, this is done, at least from my interpretation of watching the series, because, Tao is really kind of in opposition towards Nick and Charlie being together. And Tao is really doing it because he's concerned about Charlie getting hurt, and he really doesn't trust Nick, who appears to be the straight person, right? And maybe, going to hurt Charlie because Charlie was picked on in the past. Charlie doesn't tell Tao until the Paris trip, and Tao asks Charlie in the book, is it because I am the person that outed you? And Charlie goes, yeah. And basically confessing, like, the reason why I didn't tell you is because I was concerned that you would also tell everybody about Nick or someone would hear it from you. And that hurts Tao's feelings in the actual book. So I like the change, to be honest. I actually prefer the way the series did it. And then you move on to Imogen, who is a character in the TV series who is a love interest of Nick, interested in Nick, and then goes, actually, I'm not interested in you at all, and has her own little story arc. Now, in the book, this character does not actually exist at all. So, some people I saw in the comments say, like, hey, I think she's an offshoot with this other character. I can't find the connection because, at least in the Heartstopper book, I really don't see too many clues that indicate that she is connected to Imogen. Now, tell me if you disagree. The other thing I found interesting is that Ben, who is the original partner of Charlie, who's abusive to Charlie, let's just lay it out there, disappears after Charlie and Ben break up in the book. You never hear from Ben again. In this TV series, you do see that Ben is still interested in Charlie, and unfortunately is still abusive towards him, saying like, "Who the heck is gonna love you? Nobody's gonna love you." And you also see the closing of that story arc where Ben says, "Hey, you're not gonna see me after this. I just wanted to apologize. I would like to be like you and Ben, or I would like to be like you and Nick, I should say." And then that's when Charlie says, "Listen, I'm happy that you are finding out that and admitting what you did was wrong, but I don't want to be there to see you change. I don't want to be there for that." And then Ben's story arc closes. No such closing that I saw in the books. Now, Charlie, when he expresses his anxiety about saying "I love you" to Nick on the beach, right? He is saying this to Isaac in the TV show. So in the book, he's actually saying this to Elle. So just a little bit of a switch, of course, because probably Isaac doesn't exist in the book. Um, so that's interesting. Now, the other interesting thing is that in the book, Charlie has a younger brother. Now, in the TV show, Charlie has no younger brother. Now, it makes sense, to be honest, because the younger brother is hardly seen in the actual book series. You see him that, yeah, he likes the dog. Yeah, you see him every now and then rushing into the room, hugging Charlie. But beyond that, there's not much more built for that character. So, from a budgetary wise, and also for the TV show to kind of focus on other characters, it makes sense that that character was eliminated. Now, the other part is that you have David, who is Nick's brother. And when Nick goes on this family vacation in the TV show, he does so alone with his aunt and her family, right? In the actual book, he goes to this trip with Nick's mom and David, his brother, along with the other family members. Now, this changes a few things because in the TV show, Nick confesses his struggles with Charlie going through his own eating disorder to his aunt, who is a psychiatrist, right, in the TV show. In the book, he confesses this on the same trip, but to his mother. Now, the lines said by his mother in the book are actually said by the aunt in the TV show. So saying like you're only 16 years old, this is a lot, you know, this is love, you right? It's interesting, but I actually do prefer the changes to the TV show because it's nice that Nick, one, has another family member to talk to, two, is talking to somebody with some sort of experience. Not saying that his mother can't be equipped to have this conversation, but it is nice that there's someone else with at least some expertise here to guide Nick in helping Charlie, or at least being there for him. Because she says, like, hey, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to be there to resolve everything, right? So I thought that was interesting. I also think it was related to budgetary restrictions or scheduling conflicts because the actress who plays Nick's mother is a famous actress, is actually a very good actress, and probably has a very busy schedule. I've seen her in many films. So I thought that was interesting here. And I also find it interesting that, for example, when in the third season, the only thing that you see of the mother is like you hear the door open that, she's home when Nick and Charlie are upstairs having sex, or probably finishing having sex, right? And then you also see earlier in the seasons that Nick's mother is a hostess. She entertains Charlie's family coming over and also Nick's dad coming over. And then at the Christmas party, probably because of, scheduling conflicts with the actress, she's nowhere to be seen. So she's like, MIA, missing in action. Now, one thing I just want to close off on in regards to the differences and from the book to the TV show is that the TV show explores the other friendships story arcs a little bit more. And I actually prefer that because it actually allows you to see the why Charlie is so good friends with these other individuals. You can see like, oh wow, I get to see other dynamics of them. And you also get to see other perspectives and other stories. For example, like Elle being transgender, that's more explored in the actual TV show than in the Heartstopper series, right? So I really like that, and I'm hoping that in the movie they're able to actually close those story arcs. Now, like I said, I'm reading currently Nick and Charlie's story, which, as far as time frame, is after Volume 5 of Heartstopper, and it is talking about Charlie having struggles with Nick going to university, right? Which is going to be in the movie. And Charlie is on Tumblr. I'm just sharing from the book I'm reading. And other people are messaging him because they're interested in his relationship with Nick. And they're saying, hey, probably you should probably break up with Nick prior to him going to university because it's going to happen anyways, right? Long distance relationships really don't work. And Nick should be going to university single because this is a time of sexual exploration. Now, that makes Charlie upset, right? He's not really sharing it with Nick, hiding the fact of like he's getting these messages. And he's also having a struggle with Nick being so excited and talking about university all the time, right? He really doesn't want to hear it. Now, I think that is due to Charlie also being concerned about being alone. So I could see where the movie potentially be going. I'm going to continue to read the book and see, but it's definitely an interesting exploration there. But I'm just hoping that they get to close the other characters' story arcs. Now, I do plan on reviewing other shows such as Mid-Century Modern on Hulu, also reviewing the other seasons of Heartstopper and more topics as well. So, if you do like what you're seeing, like, share, leave a comment, and subscribe. Until next time, stay safe, everyone, and thank you for watching today's video. Bye. Oh my God! Yeah!